Beautiful. I know that Oliver, you said in a recent interview that in the final instalment there was not a lot of laughs from Fred and George, which I guess is kind of a nice thing for an actor to sort of be in that area where now it gets into the dark stuff, where you can kind of really push yourself in the drama side.
Yeah, certainly. It was. It's amazing to be able to play these characters, what we have done for the last 10 years, but play them in a totally different way. You see them a lot more, probably a lot more human, really, because throughout the films you see Fred and George just laughing everything off and everything.
It's the first time you see them only on their own, so they're not trying to impress anyone. They're not trying to get laughs from anybody else, and you kind of see them stripped down to their bare emotions, and which is ultimately fear at the sight of a war.
Well, and of course, in this one, pretty much everybody's running scared. Voldemort, everybody in the cast has got World War III is unleashed on Hogwarts, and special effects wizard John Richardson just blows up just about everything he can find. I would imagine quite exhausting as a shoot, because just the level of CGI and the level of physical kind of exercise, I guess, involved in it. I don't know whether you would go home at night and just be completely flopped down in the bed, or whether the fun of it, just sort of the adrenaline, would just keep you going.
Yeah, it was good fun, although we did learn not to do too much in the first take too soon, because that would get a bit tiring. But I mean, the effects are absolutely fantastic in this movie, and especially the big dueling scenes that we were doing in the Great Hall. It was all really choreographed almost, so it looks awesome.
I was thinking that all good movies have sort of messages to send out there in life, and I guess the messages I got from this one is the afterlife looks an awful lot like an Apple Mac store, which I didn't realise. that impending death is a great way to finally inspire your expression of love for somebody that you desired for many years. And also that with great power comes great assholes, because there's always that notion that once you get into that area of, I think with Voldemort, and that notion that there's power available, that's when the evil side comes out. Are they the messages you were trying to convey, right?
I think so.
Right.
And I guess that means that Dumbledore is a genius guy. Yeah, that kind of works, doesn't it? Yeah.
Although I don't know what the message is with the Voldemort soul dying in the Mac store,
I'll be a
as we
PC.
called it.
Yeah,
probably, yeah.
That's it, you see, that's what it represents. We've worked it, we've clicked it. that notion when within a week of shooting, I know for you, James, the one thing you want to do is just go ahead and get your hair done and be able to get away from what was sort of a commitment to this role. I don't know, since then, has there been a sense of liberation that you realise, I actually don't, I know there would have been overdubs and bits and pieces, but now you're free of, if you want, you can go for Mohicans, you can, go put on loads of weight like I did. You can do whatever you want.
Well, actually, the first thing I did was I went rock climbing, which I wasn't allowed to do beforehand. And then, mind you, at the end, I always do something silly at the end of every movie. Like, I think it's number 6, I went skydiving.
Smart.
Literally the day after, just because I could.
Does David Heyman and all these people know this?
I showed David the video of it, and he said, "Thank God you didn't tell me you was going to do that." But we had it was fun just to get back to normality. And then things like yesterday in London, that was something I'll never forget for as long as I live. So it's good to be able to go back to it now. But now it is pretty much over for Harry Potter for us. So it's now this is like the new chapter of our lives.
Well, I was just thinking, I watched a bit of the Trafalgar Square premiere last night. I'm sure William and Kate were jealous of the actual scale of it and the impact and the sort of the response. I mean, while you went down that red carpet signing autographs and all that, it must have been going through your head that, as you say, it's the last time. This is the genuine big goodbye for you guys and for all the cast. And
I don't know, I kind of left that feeling away, because I didn't want to get all as you're signing people's autographs.
Yeah.
But it just went so quickly, the whole red carpet event. I mean, it shows the size. They showed us a map of it on an A to Z. They said, right, you're going to walk around here. And there's a moment where we walked round past the first press photographer pen, and you've got the red carpet leading up the stairs towards the National Gallery. And then either side, there's just thousands of people. And there's flames going off, there's noise. And I think I'll remember that for the rest of my life.
And what about the tears? I know last time you said you're too manly on the actual set on the last day of shoot.
Yeah.
Because you're butch guys like me. There's just no way.
Well, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
But maybe when you're apart, or even I don't know whether you'd admit to each other, I'm actually a little bit upset today.
Last night. It was it was the press conference on Wednesday. I haven't even thought about it. Like, where there was about 20 of us from the cast sitting in the St Pancras station in London, just doing this big worldwide press conference. And I was just taking it all in, hearing all the other guys talk about their experiences. And then I kind of thought, it kind of came back to me that it was only 10 years ago that we were in King's Cross next door shooting our first ever scenes on screen. So it was, that hit me. And then last night, you kind of have to go into a bit of an ego trip when you do the red carpets. Otherwise, you go in a bit of a shy state. So it's kind of like, who wants to say hello? And then after the after party, it was very much okay, this is it now. But it's what if you're going to go out, you might as well disrupt the whole of London's traffic in the process.
Stop the traffic for rock and roll.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I know that it's a struggle for anybody on the set, including Rupert and everybody else, to take mementos. They had very high security. You couldn't get your wands and all that. But I was very proud to read that you did actually manage to get one or two little mementos. And maybe it's legally not very wise to say what you got, but you did actually manage to grab one or two things from the set.
There was one or two things what they wouldn't notice at first count, shall we say, when they're going back. It was like just little things like a bag from the Weasley Wizard Wheezes, shop and that. But yeah, I mean, the wand would have been so cool to have.
That was the one they were really strict on. But I mean, I managed to borrow. If they ever want to take it back, they can come and get it from me.
This will all be used in court.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just holding it in case. I got some stuff from the Skiving snap boxes from Fred and George, and some money from Gringotts Bank, which obviously you can't use, so it wasn't stealing.
I suppose that the thing now that all the cast are going to be thinking about the fact that 10 years of their life are given over to the biggest franchise that's ever existed, and now you got to go on, and if you're going to act, I know you did The Kingdom with Stephen Fry a few years ago, and Oliver, you being the older by 13 minutes, you've taken that big step of actually making a Latin Quarter. I think it's about to shoot, or you've shot it.
It's about to shoot. It keeps getting put back in. When we're going to. I don't know when it's going to start, but it will be. It should be quite an interesting story. And then there's also other projects as well, which is quite cool, which we're both looking at doing separately for later in the year. So it's cool to do that step now, where we're not doing anything with magical powers and stuff. So I mean, obviously nothing will ever be on this scale again.
And I know, James, bizarrely, you were a front runner on Half-Blood Prince and the Da Vinci Code. Was that just a desire to see how the machine works, or were you thinking I'd like to do other things besides acting? Or?
Mainly to see how the whole thing's put together, and then if I really wanted to go for it, then I could. But it was mainly just I learnt more in my first week of ADing on Potter about the film industry than I had in the first 5 years of being an actor, because you just learn how much time and effort goes into filming. And I think on this movie, you really see how much hard work has gone into making it, just all the effects and everything.
The very last thing, because I know I've got to wrap up. You've got to accept that every time you go to a new film set now, there won't be like this, there won't be this. You'll probably have like a tiny little caravan trailer shared with 10 others.
Yep.
There might be like a hot coffee dispenser, and that's it. You're all ready for that? You're going to be okay?
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those things that at the first ever premiere, Robbie Coltrane said to us, "Okay, this is like having a Rolls Royce for your first car." And it's true, unless...
Yes, but I want to find a Bugatti now.
Well, if you're looking for mini metros, we make those in Ireland here.
Okay,
that's our type of film. Yeah. Rock and roll. Let me talk to you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. What's the name of the band?